Ladies and gentlemen, your sweet Zionist white colonizer coming to you live from an undisclosed location. What's up? My name is Tall, traveling clat. Let's take a look at this clip from a Muslim.
The other extremist groups, like the Muslim Brotherhood, who are friends with the IRGC and Hezbollah people, they cannot operate in Bahrain, in Oman. These are Muslim countries. Where do they operate? In London, in France, in Washington, D.C., in Australia, in Canada, Toronto. They operate here. They have bank accounts. They register charity. Right. So Macron, the president of France, recently said, the Islamic world is in a crisis. I say, no, you are in a crisis. You went to the Muslim countries and you imported the garbage that the Muslim countries wanted to put in prison or isolate away from society. You went and you imported them. Why? For cheap labor. But these Islamist extremists, they don't want to work, they want free welfare. But these Islamist extremists, they don't want to work, they want free welfare. They want to marry French women, blonde hair, blue eyes. They don't have time to work. So look at Poland. They don't complain from Islamic extremism, not a single terrorist attack in Poland. The moment they sense there's a problem, they crack down on it. Polish policy, beautiful. The French, no, come. When they come, they use the resources. They go to Washington, D.C., and they sit in Congress. They support the Iranian regime. They go against the sanctions in Congress, right, with their hijab. Why? Because the ideology is filth to begin with. When you import that, or you allow it in, or you amplify it, or you glorify it in any way, you make your bed, sleep in it. So that is also a problem of the West. The question is, Tina, did the extremists become stronger or the West become weaker? I say it's both.
It's absolutely both. But I believe this is the Imam of Peace. I've been following him for many years. I love the guy. But I have to not agree 100%. And I'm going to get into a little bit of nuance. It's going to be kind of hard to pick up on. I believe that the Imam of Peace is from one of the Gulf countries. I don't know to say exactly where. Okay. Now, the dynamic you need to understand about the Gulf countries, and this is not to say anything bad about the Gulf countries per se, because I'm actively pursuing higher relationships with people in those countries. I don't have a problem with the government. I don't have a problem with the society there, but something you need to understand about Arab dynamics, okay, and Islamic dynamics. When he says the Muslim world doesn't have a problem with Islamism, that's not necessarily true, but it's because he's a Gulf Arab. And a Gulf Arab doesn't believe that the rest of the Muslim world is actually Muslim. It's something to remember that the Arabs colonized the Middle East and North Africa, but the Arabs come from one specific place. The real Muslims are the ancestors or the descendants of Muhammad, the people who came from this one specific place geographically. The interior racism that exists in the Muslim Arab world is something that most people don't know. People think that the Muslim world is one unified ummah of 2 billion people who stand together, 400 million people in the Arab world. This could not be further from the truth. When he says there's no problem in the Islamic world, he's specifically referring to the fact that in the Gulf countries, they don't really have a problem with Islamism, at least not that much. And that's because they rule with an iron fist. But the rest of the Muslim world, well, the one that they don't consider real Muslims, because they're not, and the ones that they don't really consider real Arabs, because they're not, and they kind of tell you the truth, believe them when they tell you, they have a massive problem with Islamism, and they have a massive problem with Arabs. And they're not just exported to the West, they have a problem with them in their very countries. It's just something I find fascinating about Arab dynamics. I think that Arab society and Islamic society is super fascinating. The way that it's so fragmented, the way that it's so weak from the inside, and the interior racism that exists. And I'm not going to pretend like Jews don't have racism. Yeah, Ashkenazi Jews can be racist towards Mizrahi Jews, and Mizrahi Jews can be racist towards Ethiopian Jews, and Ethiopian Jews can be racist against, everybody has their own racism in the Jewish world. We can all be racist to one another. It exists. So I'm not saying it's perfect. We don't persecute each other based on race, at least not frequently. And it's not in the culture to do it. It does happen, but it's not in the culture. In the Arab world, it is the culture. It is the baseline to persecute each other if you're Muslim or not, but even if you're Muslim based on race and based on religion. It is the baseline. It is the rule, not the exception. Those are my thoughts. I love you guys long time. Please consider supporting my channel. I'll see you in the next one. I love you long time. Goodbye. If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat, or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.